Peter Dutton's intervention into this election campaign with some incendiary comments about asylum seekers and what impact they might have for the country has landed really like a bombshell in this second week of the election campaign. The government seems to have switched from its argument about stopping deaths at sea to be arguing a sort of a different case, a social and economic case against large-scale intake of refugees as per the Greens policy. Mr Dutton takes the view that these people would be illiterate and innumerate in many cases, and that they could therefore become a net drain on the budget and the economy, languishing on the dole and using Medicare and the like. But he also pulls a very old lever, going way back to Australia's paranoia about the yellow hordes and so forth, when he says that these people would also take Australian jobs. Here's a bit of what Mr Dutton said.
Well, for many people, they won't be, numerate or literate in their own language, let alone English. And this is a difficulty because the Greens are very close to the CFMEU, as obviously the Labor Party is, and their affiliations with the union movement obviously are well known. Now, these people would be taking Australian jobs, there's no question about that. And for many of them that would be unemployed, they would languish in unemployment queues and on Medicare and the rest of it. So there would be a huge cost, and there's no sense in sugarcoating that.
Labor and the Greens have responded as you would imagine in this situation. The Greens' Sarah Hanson-Young says this is disgraceful.
The Liberal Party policy is about stopping refugees coming here because they're worried they're going to take people's jobs, or they're worried that they can't read or write. I mean, this is low, it's xenophobic, and it shouldn't take place. It should not take place in an election campaign.
The best that the Liberal Party can do, it appears, is to put out a string of lies and pathetic scare campaigns. In the last 12 hours, we've seen Mr Dutton insult refugees and indeed our great migrant history. Mr Dutton's comments are comments that Pauline Hanson would have been proud to make.
Mr Dutton's comments obviously are aimed at bringing the whole issue of boats and immigration and border protection and security onto centre stage in this election campaign, and it looks like, at least judging by the response, that has been successful. So to the extent that this is a strength for the coalition, it may represent a successful strategy, but it does also come at a cost, and that cost is that it's another area where Malcolm Turnbull will be seen to be campaigning pretty much as Tony Abbott. Now, this is something that we've seen fueling a lot of disappointment in Malcolm Turnbull's leadership, whether it be on climate change or same-sex marriage, these kinds of issues. And now really to have the rhetoric of Tony Abbott's government being used by Malcolm Turnbull's ministers and Malcolm Turnbull himself backing in those ministers during this campaign will come at some cost to Turnbull's standing.